episode 23 of the Trackside Lounge. Now, I just want to correct something that happened last time, all right? I made one bloody mistake.
Nik Minute or Nik Minute?
I was in Nik episode. Got a bit tongue-tied. So
You're still not over that.
This is the next episode, all right? People, you actually...
So, anyway, last episode we left.
You
can't do it. You can't do it. So last episode anyway, we left so much meat on the bone that there's still a fair bit to talk about. So we may as well just dive straight back into it. Where were we before we realised we'd gone way over time?
Well, I don't know if we ever go over time because it's just so easy and so fluent. Hey, we've got a lot of goings on at the moment with motor racing around the country, and of course one of the things is Western Springs. Now I know that you've got quite a bit of knowledge on Western Springs, and obviously there's things you can say and things you can't say, but by the same token, from the outsider's point of view, which is what I am, the big push for the $300 million development, it's all over now. So there's a lot of people in my circle. I'm stock car speedway, dirt track and circuit. Everyone's going, so what's going on with Western Springs? Does it mean that there's going to be speedway back at Speedway at Western Springs next year?
Let's start at the beginning, shall we? The
1926 beginning? Or?
1928. No, let's start at the beginning of this particular episode when the Auckland FC part owners decided they were going to put together a proposal, $300 million. They were going to do all this work at Western Springs, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Of course, the City Council love that because it means they don't have to do the remedial work at the place. So naturally, they were inclined to want to do that. Now, the thing was, no one had actually asked the public what the public wanted. A couple of interesting things came out about it. The Auckland FC fans didn't want to move from Mount Smart Stadium to a smaller stadium, so that was one of the reasons. There'd been no public consultation on the ditching of Speedway, and there's another proposal to turn Western Springs into like a sound shell so they can have more concerts there, and Ponsonby Rugby Club rooms could play this. So they went out to the people. There was people were invited to have their thoughts on it, and there were... Well, they had three options, but really there were four. The fourth option was keep things the way they are, but look at different ways of supporting Western Springs Speedway. Now, that was the option if you were a Speedway fan, because none of the other three mentioned Speedway at all. Right. So, interestingly enough, since the $300 million thing is off the table, suddenly they released the results of the wee survey they had. And 42% of the people surveyed want to continue with Western Springs, searching for other things to do there, not turning it into a concert venue, because it will always be a concert venue. So overwhelmingly, there's a huge support to carry on something for the community there, which is interesting because the City Council claimed that wasn't the case, which is why they were going to push ahead with blah, 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 blah. Now, for the Save Our Springs Speedway fraternity, now you have an opportunity to approach the City Council and state your claim, right? State your case. That's what you... I've been told that there is a court case pending on it. Great. Now's the time to push for that sort of thing. What it doesn't change is it doesn't change the decision that was made, which is being challenged, but the decision was made that Western Springs would go to Waikaraka Park. And for the sake of open wheel races, that's all they've got to work with at the moment. So the work is continuing at Waikaraka Park just to go racing. Now, if you're a Saviour Springs Speedway person, great. Get your team together and you approach the City Council. Get that organised. Because, we'd love to race at the Springs. But if there's only one place to race and it's Waikaraka Park, then we're gonna race there.
Still going to be racing, aren't you?
The racing is still going to continue.
But there is an opportunity, and honestly, you've started the ball rolling, Save Our Springs. Now you need to get onto it. All right.
So recently, when the decision was made to pull the plug on the big $300 million venture, there was I saw an interview in the morning on the TV1 show, and there was a chap there from the football club, and his attitude was basically, well, now that that's out of the picture, it's just us and Eccles Entertainment or whatever it is, and they're going to be promoting that. And I'm thinking, well, they want to promote football. I understand that. They want to promote concerts, and I'm sitting there going, but why wouldn't Eccles or whoever be going, well, why don't we promote Speedway? Speedway at Western Springs, because there's the format, there's the track, there's the passion, and guess what? If it's done properly, you can make money. Don't ring up Bruce and say, hey, guess what, mate? We're in now. We're going to get your money off you, because Bruce is like, dude, I put 5 years of my life into that. I put millions of dollars into that place. I got some money back, and some people have Bruce Robertson, the man who's promoting Waikaraka and Western Springs. They have him with a halo over his head, and other have him with the horns. And I think if they know Bruce Robertson, they know that he doesn't give a rat's bum about ruining Speedway. Why would he take on that thing 5 years ago to have it go where it is now? Because he's not going to make the big money out of Waikaraka. All these people are saying.
Well, we talked about that. That was one of the first episodes that we did on this show.
Yeah,
you're talking about exactly that, about Bruce not investing the amount of money, the amount of time that he's sunk into the project that is the Western Springs Speedway. He wouldn't have done that if he didn't think that there was, a way forward. You don't just throw that sort of money at something and expect to have the rug pulled from under your feet like that. So, and
they're saying that he did it and just kissed a whole lot of money, just walked away with a whole lot of money because he's selling the fence and selling the light source, but he had to buy that anyway. He's just recouping his money. There's no profit from that.
And let's be clear on this, because this is where it all turns into a big murky field. Let's be clear on this. At the end of Bruce's turn at Western Springs Speedway, there is not an option for Speedway to continue. This was a decision that was made by the City Council.
Yep.
Now that decision is now being called into question, and that is going to go into litigation, allegedly. So hopefully it does. Hopefully some light will be shed. But in the meantime, as far as Bruce is concerned, the people that were racing at Western Springs are concerned, Western Springs is not an option right now.
And this is the whole thing about this entire movement, is that, like you say, it's not just going to magically bring Speedway back to Western Springs and then poof, we're racing in 2026. For the meanwhile, Waikaraka is the only option.
Yeah, you're not losing Speedway.
You're not losing your open wheel racing. It's just being relocated.
Yep.
In the meanwhile, if we can bring Western Springs, and obviously there's going to be significant work required, first of all, to bring it back up to racing spec, but then also to bring it into a modern, there was stuff that could be done to make Western Springs more, modern.
Let's also understand a thing about Waikaraka Park. For years, and I mean for years, the main stand was collapsing, and the City Council at the time, and this is like 20 years ago, promised a redevelopment of $2 million to be put into that place that just never eventuated. So racing at Waikaraka Park has always been suspect, shall we say, because of the negligence of the City Council and not investing it. So them, and I'm going to use this, and I could be proved wrong, them using the shift of Western Springs as an excuse to put the investment into it seems like a pretty weird thing to do when you should have done it years ago, but at least it's being done. And we're going to upgrade the track for all classes to race at Waikaraka Park. You're getting a better safety fence. The track's going to be a little bit more drivey, a little bit wider. It's going to be better for the public, safer for the public. And that is the important thing, because we want the public to come along and watch it.
And this is the thing too. And for all the hunched shoulders and but Western Springs is still better. This is the future of your sport we're talking about. This is the future of our sport. This is the future of, Speedway and open wheel racing in New Zealand. So, even if Western Springs was better, the fact is, here's where they're going to be racing.
At the moment. If, if there is a flash of light and everything works perfect and suddenly Speedway's back at Western Springs, yeah, right, they'll be racing back at Western Springs. And we also know that when there are meetings that will be held outside of Western Springs, because there's a concert there or something like that, then you'll be going to an equal facility in Waikaraka Park instead of something that had potholes in it that used to fill up with water that caused F2s to crash into the fence. So everything's going to be good. In a perfect world, 2 great racetracks. And on a lighter note, Bay Park Raceway has won the battle with the City Council there, and they're racing till 2039.
Yep,
that's
right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's right.
They needed that.
And outside of Western Springs, which was just a great racetrack to work on, the surface at Bay Park is incredible, and it's bloody fast. You want to watch sprint car racing at Bay Park. That's incredible. When the track's right, man, those things hook up and they are quick. That's why it's called Speedway, because they're fast.
But you know who the loser is of that decision coming down? Now they've got the track till 2039. Do you know who the biggest loser of that decision is?
Yeah, as long as they're racing cars there, I
Who
kind of don't
loses?
care.
Lawyers. Lawyers have lost millions of dollars
sucks to be in law at the moment.
Because, and if you don't know this, Bay Park Speedway in Tauranga in the North Island of New Zealand was actually built by a very, very astute man, big passionate Speedway follower, and it was his money that built that facility, top to bottom. No money was asked for, it was all out of his own wallet, and it was actually gifted to the council on the proviso that that facility only stays as a speedway. So it's actually now council owned. It was privately owned, now council owned, because it was gifted to the council on the proviso that it stayed as speedway
But with
indefinitely.
with a massive term and conditions.
Correct. And so for the council to even remotely suggest, we're not going to be using it as speedway anymore, that's fine, give us the keys back to the facility, you don't own it anymore.
Wasn't that the city council that the government had to step in because they were being less than honest?
Oh, surely not.
I can see controversy coming here from Nik Brown. Nik Minute, we'll move on away from Speedway.
God, thanks very much. Yeah, but there we go. That's the way the thing with Speedway lies. I'm just all for Speedway racing, open wheel racing. I just love it. So I'll go wherever they're racing, supporting the drivers, supporting the teams. That's what it's about.
Overseas Speedway, though, boy, there's been some big things happening overseas. I don't think they've got quite the controversy that New Zealand has. And tell us a little bit about some of the goings-ons over there, because some Kiwis doing well as well. But
well, there's Todd Hemingway is a New Zealand speedway guy, actually from the Bay Area, and he's going over to race in the BriSCA F1 World Finals in 2025. Friday the 12th of September it starts, then he's racing on the 13th of September, the 14th of September, the 20th of September. There is a fundraiser coming up on August the 8th, so if you go to Todd Hemingway's website, you can find out more about the fundraiser and maybe help him get there, because I don't know if you've watched BriSCAs. They're like stock cars, but different. They've
got the massive angled wings, don't they?
Yeah, and it's a weird looking wing angled on the top.
Almost looks lopsided.
And they race on shale, they race on dirt, they race on tarmac. In fact, on some of the circuits, there is a tarmac section for them to go hooning around on, and they are just mad.
I love it.
I would love a whole bunch of BriSCA spec cars to come out to New Zealand and hoon around the tracks. That would be hilarious, because they're blinking fast, and the best bit about stock cars, they don't mind hitting each other.
Are they 4, 6, 8 cylinder?
Good God, I really don't know. I think what they do is they take anything fast.
Big block.
I mean, there's probably a couple of big fours in there with massive turbos on them. They just want to go quick.
So like an open formula, just run.
Well, no.
We'll find out.
It's called Formula 1, and there are Formula 2s as well. So it is quite tightly controlled about what you can do, but it is flipping exciting.
But you can run a 4-banger turbo against a V8 against
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know any of the rules and regulations about BriSCA, but the fact that Todd Hemingway was invited to go over there.
Yeah.
I mean, that shows just brilliant performance. He's done some brilliant performances in the teams racing, and it was when the English were over here, they saw him. They said, did this guy do all right, wasn't he? So they laid out the carpet, and Todd's going over. So
the Pommy accent straight away.
give him the support.
He's not a bad driver, is he?
Give him the support. I mean, there's more Kiwis heading over there, and I think it's just great.
Well, if he's doing a fundraiser, and he's a bit of a powerhouse in New Zealand wanting to do well overseas, so Todd, if you're in Auckland in the not too distant future before the 8th of August, mate, there's a space here for you.
You can
come and
jump and join us.
Have a bit of a chin wag and hear what it takes to be a BriSCA BriSCA F1 stock car driver over in the land of Blighty.
See, and that's an F1, Formula 1, that I can understand. At no stage are we talking about making a TV show about it, or having one of the team principals get fired for no particular reason.
Is anyone sponsored by Red Bull? Just asking.
No, I would suggest there's bound to be someone sponsored by Red Bull, because Red Bull get behind most
Red Bull just do anything.
I was waiting for him to stop me there.
Anything that's exciting, Red Bull want to get into. Not that we're sponsored by Red Bull, but it'd look fantastic there.
You almost forget that they make energy drinks on the side, eh? That the drinks are just the side hustle. Everything else is like the motorsport, the racing, the extreme sport.
And
Quick question. We'll keep this a bit quiet, because I've seen a ute driving around with a Red Bull logo on the side, but it's explosives.
Oh, really?
Used in the construction industry.
Nice.
Oh.
Is that the same company? Is that how you get wings from Red Bull?
I was going to say,
It's
probably for the
exclusive.
operator.
People, all the health conscious people and all that. The amount of chemicals in energy drinks. Well, I wonder if they worked out that the right amount of chemicals, and then if you put a charge on it, maybe it detonates.
Oof. All right. Okay, that's enough of that. All right, stop. Supercars.
Interestingly enough, why the heck were they racing on a Friday?
Yeah, that was a question.
Because I was in Taupo, right? And we'd just come back from, I think we'd done the river cruise
he's
or something.
He's a noter, isn't he? Yeah. I was in Taupo. I wasn't.
We just turned on the Sky as you do, and I was expecting to watch practice or maybe some quali, and it was Townsville, right?
Yeah.
Townsville, they always have a really stacked support category. They do the Porsches, they do the 86s, they've done like central muscle cars and all that. So I was expecting, practice, warm up and stuff. And the supercars are racing on a Friday.
Yeah, that's what race cars do on racetracks. It's not a new thing.
Not on a Friday.
Oh, right. Sorry, that's the problem. Okay,
so
gotcha.
Anyway, but it was an interesting format because...
you see, I think what you find there is Townsville. I don't know if you know much about Australia and Townsville. They thought it was the Saturday before.
Yeah.
It's a bit slow.
Big glitch in the daylight savings.
I see.
Were they racing for the 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah. So it was literally the supercars themselves. I think it was a reset thing. So they do the quali in a race, and then the next day they do rather than doing all the qualies in one go. But but
and they did the drive to town and that back.
Yeah, they do all that which is quite cool. Yep. Funnily enough, Friday, David Reynolds didn't have too good of a race.
No.
Right. And I was even saying to some of my guys, I said, God, I wish Davey Reynolds, had a good result, because he's been in the game for a while, and I'm sitting there going, dude, Davey, I really like you, I want you to do well. Saturday, pole position.
Did you ever his phone number or something? Call him up in the car. Davey, mate, come on, what are you doing?
So the thing about that though, we have actually got a connection with the tradie team, with the Team 18 car. Did you realise that?
No, I did know that.
So one of the engineers recently appointed is a young lady from the Sanyong Utes called B. Via. And B is actually now one of the consultants. Now, I've had a special time with B. I got the first time.
Hang on a second.
No, I can say this clearly. I was testing a Sanyong Ute years ago at Puki.
Yep.
I go down the front straight. I got welcomed onto the track by a tap up the bum from B, who thought it was funny. She thought I was Murray Brooks, and they carried on like teammates. And of course, he's driven in the same race, and great to see a Kiwi, but a lady as well. And again, it's just this whole breaking down of the walls of that women can do anything. And in motorsport, women can do more than just sit there and look pretty holding the grid board. They can. I mean, she's a very, very clever engineer-minded and a very good driver by herself.
Yeah, she's
in her own race, she's
herself.
a good driver.
I mean, you should have seen her in the Sanyong series. Like, they bump and barge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
she loved it.
She gave as good as she got, man.
Yeah.
Like, she really was up there. She was a top 5 driver on more than one occasion.
Yep.
I don't know about a win, but I know that she was there or thereabouts a podium.
Definitely there. And she's like Murray Brook, Dale Lambert, Antal Sabo. You got these guys who are very, very, they know what
short.
they're doing.
Very short.
You're talking about Dale?
Dale Lambert.
Yeah.
Love you, Dale.
Thought so. But, so that was cool to see.
Yeah.
But, and then Townsville... It's like they've made that track specifically for dive bombs, haven't they? Because it's just... Was that the track where our mate Mr. Quinn had his big horror smash? I think it was.
Crikey, was it?
Because it was on Australia.
It was a street circuit,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Was it Townsville? I don't think it was Adelaide.
This is the bit where we pause the program. We go and find out, then we bring it back. The other thing too about the supercars is that the enduros are coming up soon, and they've actually just had a rule change. There's I don't know if it's actually come out yet, but they are suggesting there's going to be a rule change for the co-driving duties.
Yep.
Whereas last year all the primary drivers had to start, and now they're saying that rule's potentially going to change, so that the co-drivers, and some of them are very, very good regular drivers themselves,
some of them
recently out of the seat.
Pretty fresh.
So, and so now it might be a little bit of a mix and match over the enduro. So looking forward to that. That'll be... they said that it pigeonholed everybody on their strategies, because they said, well, you don't tell the rugby team who they can and can't have on the field. You don't say, hey, you can only start on this side because it's a coin toss. That decides which way. So why are we pigeonholed on we can't start our co-drivers? And I know there's a big push there on the enduros to try and get the co-driver out of the seat. The main driver does the last 2 or 3 hours, which I think is foolish. When a driver change is covered by the fuel and tyres, just driver change.
Just keep them fresh.
Yeah. And the other thing is, keep them fresh. But if your co-pilot is a pretty good peddler out there, mate, they're going to make the car come home anyway. So your primary driver might be the one that does the big piece in the middle to keep the car at the front of the field, keep it even, stop the wear in there, and then you put the hot shoe in there and say, mate, bleed it.
Well, look at 2023 with Stanaway, with Shane. I mean, Shane did the great job, but Richie was a huge backup. And we've seen Brody, he had I'm just trying to think who his teammate was, just absolutely helped him massively. Was it not, was it Perkins? But
yeah.
And it's sitting there going, and all the drivers are just, that we'd see them in the, not being rude, but then the also run cars, seeing them really get into a good team with the, with the Enduros and that, they can just step up and take off. No, it wasn't. It was Hazelwood, I think, from memory. But anyway.
Something like that, yeah. But it's also wild, talking about the whole double stinting and triple stinting and stuff, it's like, why would you do that? You want your co-driver to be, fresh enough to jump back in. I mean, case in point, was it 2018, again, with Davey Reynolds, had that cramp in his foot.
Yeah.
So he had Luke Yolden jump in, and obviously what went wrong there was they waited too late to make the switch. They should have, put Luke in the car basically as soon as something wasn't right. But, having that other guy there, not necessarily, obviously you still want to refresh. If you come out of the car after an hour, you want to be left alone for 10, 20, 30 minutes.
It's not like Luke Yordan's a rookie. Like, he doesn't know what he's a very experienced driver. What a big mistake that was, and sucks to be them. Anyway, that was interesting. So that's a rule change coming up, and hopefully that is guaranteed. That is what's going to happen.
It just opens up the
Supercars.
strategies, like you're saying. It just gives them options. They can approach the race as and when they see fit. So it's Sandown, Bathurst, and the Bend.
Is it the Taylor Bend, isn't it?
I think are the three Enduros this time around. So.
Yeah. So that'll be cool, and obviously with Townsville, the way it would all went with, and of course we're looking at the two formats now, the new point structure that they've got. So the sprint series, it's looking like Feeney's going to do and take that by storm, which is great. But Matt Payne up to second in the championship at the moment. I mean, he's leapfrogged Will Brown and regularly done so. That is a very, very big thing to do, because Brown was just looking sharp, but it just hasn't gone his way in the last couple of race meets. So
can I ask the question? Why do we have the two, the series within a series?
Well, it's a new point structure thing. Instead of it being all through the season that, Will or Brown can't be caught, I think they're taking it from NASCAR, that after a certain amount of races up for the sprint cars before the Enduros, and then when the Enduros start, it's zero again. All the points are zero. So everyone's on the same plane. So really you've got half a championship, but it's not actually a championship per se. There's your glorified cup. But now the hard work starts. Now is what you want to be fighting for, which is the actual V8 Supercar Championship.
Still don't understand.
No,
Still don't quite get it. I feel
like
like it's one of those ones that we're going to have to see it in practice before we can.
He stopped me there.
Yeah.
When you said the NASCAR one, I was thinking, I saw that in the other weekend, and how there's different points and there's matchups between different drivers to try and make the playoffs, which actually have no bearing on something else.
I'll tell you what, though, if Supercars try to do a race and break it up into stages, then I'll okay, we probably need to stop copying NASCAR.
Yeah.
Do you remember truck racing?
When
the truck racing used to come out there, and I remember going to Pukekohe once with my boy who was 2 at the time, and but there's a story in that, but I can't tell it because he shat down my neck, but that's not the point. Odie's up there watching the trucks go past, and I was watching them. They were doing 3 or 4 laps, and then they were stopping and resetting because the brakes would overheat. But it was just incredible to watch these trucks go out there, hell for leather. Then they do couple of laps so the brakes can cool down, reshuffle the field, and off they go again. I love truck racing. I've been watching a little bit on YouTube. There is some truck racing done in Sweden. They use really old trucks they use in the forest industry. They're high-stepping things, massively high they are. They're not hell of a fast, but they're not keen on using brakes. It's just really funny. It's possibly the slowest but most exciting racing you can watch.
Yeah, talking about Swedish people though.
It's like I saw the European truck racing, because they've got the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, right? And like you say, wide variety of trucks. They have one of the tactical aspects of those races that we don't get anywhere else because no other vehicles are that big. They have water-cooled brakes. Yeah. So they've got I think it's 200 litres of water.
Like huge.
And they have to make that last the whole race. So if you, like you say,
6 laps.
They're trying their best to not use the brakes. They're sort of trying to go through the cogs or whatever other way they can.
200 litres to last 6 laps, and they're really not trying to use the brakes too much.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. 200 litres.
It's ridiculous how, but like, where else are you going to get that sort of, you don't see in supercars, we've run out of water for the brakes or for WRC or for IndyCar, or, but it's just that whole tactical thing. And I mean, obviously the brakes are working bloody hard to try and pull up 5 ton.
Yeah, 100 mile an hour.
I think they're limited to 100 mile an hour.
160 k's, yeah.
Like they will not go faster, but
and of course they try to stay at 160k everywhere, corners.
Yeah, they do some really good lap times considering only doing 100 mile an hour. And of course, the current 1NZ is a chap called Alex Little, who's the son of Malcolm Little.
Oh.
And Malcolm, I mean, Alex is the most unassuming guy. He is quiet. He'll just stand in the corner and play with his blocks. He's that guy. But he gets behind the wheel. That's how you sort of think with Alex. He doesn't look like a race car driver. But he throws 5 tons around like it's putty, and I've seen him on the track. Right, he's raced with us in the past. You know him through the Lemons and the Hooncorp cars, and he's the most unassuming guy. You'd never know he was at the time, and still is, and leading the championship so far.
Is there a sim truck racing series?
I think the European Truck Series actually does have an official game, but as far as sim racing as such, I'm not sure. I'd have to have a look, to be fair.
And that brings us to sim racing.
Yeah, well, I was going to say quickly. I want to stay with truck racing just for a second. I saw this thing on YouTube as I was hunting down truck racing. They do late model truck racing in the States on ovals.
Okay.
And when I say trucks, they're not mini trucks. They're like Kenworths and Peterbilts and things like that, but they hammer the body right down on the chassis and they fly around ovals. I mean, it looks hugely dangerous, but bloody hysterical.
So does a lot of stuff in America, to be fair. So.
I would love to see that sort of thing. Yet not those sort of sport truck racing, but I mean big truck racing.
Actual Peterbilts.
They are mad. Anyway, back to sim racing.
No, that's
sim
cool.
Racing.
That's cool.
Bit happening there for you?
Yeah. Well, we've got the next AusNZ race is coming up this weekend. 6 hours of Silverstone.
Okay.
The server last night was pretty flooded, so we're trying to do. We were 8 seconds a lap off the current, what we'd be doing in the dry, just because it was that wet.
Right.
Yep.
Obviously, high speed sections like Maggots and Beckett's, you try doing that when the track's flooded and you got pools of water everywhere. It was a bit, but not quite the same.
Is this the new global warming software they're using in there?
No, it's just the UK weather simulator. It's just the UK, honestly. So so we got 6 points between the top 2 in the championship.
Right.
So it is anyone's game. We've got Brocky Sim Racing taking on ANC Outplayed, and obviously there's still a fair few people that can throw their hats in the ring with about 4 races to go. But
And all I care about the Hooncorp boys, how are they going?
What are we? 7th, 14th in the championship at the moment.
That's right.
So,
like you say, long way to go.
The Paul Ricard race was particularly good for us. That was a good little injection. So we've gone up a couple spots. And Silverstone is Hooncorp's stomping ground. We've won in 2023. We won in 2024. We want to make it a hat trick.
And a quick shout out to your drivers. Who are your drivers?
Yeah. So we got Scott Smith and Brad Money in the flagship car, our pro category car, which isn't actually pro category, but they are the best we've got, so we'll call them the pro. Kyle wasn't available to race, so we all put a heartfelt letter to Brad's missus to ask if he could come out and play, because she wasn't keen on him racing, because they've just had a kid, and you know what that's like, raising a baby.
Okay.
So,
did any of you at any stage suggest that she take over the driving responsibilities and he can take care of the kid?
Ooh.
See, you got to speak the language. Got to speak the right language.
But anyway, so thank you, Cass, letting Brad come out and play.
Your turn to drive coming up, Cass.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do a women's team for one of them. Actually, we'll get the women. But anyway, so they're in the front car. I'm racing with the old mate Timothy Vaughan.
Yep.
And we don't actually have a third car for this one because Victor's unavailable, and I don't think Kevin wants to do 6 hours on his own.
Oh, come on, what a part-timer.
Cassie might be available.
Plenty more to come.
Between naps.
I want to finish on a gripe.
Oh, here we go.
I want to finish on a moan and a grizzle.
This has been a bit of a gripe episode, hasn't it?
Oh, not too bad.
Everyone's got a gripe.
Not too bad.
Just a little. Yes.
So I think I mentioned a little while ago about the upcoming Ruapuna races for the Supercars next year. I want to be there. I want to get down there. I want to be part of it. I want to watch.
Yes, I know where this is going.
Be excited. And I did I'm not going to say the name of the motel, but I did a ring up and everything. I checked their site on the web. I even tuned on the computer and got it all going.
How long ago was this?
This is a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
So I checked and but before the announcement came out, I thought, I know that, that's likely going to happen at Ruapuna. We've got a bit of an insight there.
Yeah.
So I checked into the particular motel for same time of the year, which we assume was April and everything. It's $109 a night. I thought, well, that's not too bad.
That's not bad.
But I know it's going to go up. I'm expecting 150, 160, even 195, because there's a tax to pay.
No, that's still
So once it came out, I got in touch with them. I said, hey, look, we're quite keen to get along there. What's the story? Can we book some dates and all this sort of stuff? Oh, look, we're not taking bookings. I said, oh, you're full. No, we're not taking bookings. We want to give us your email address. We'll let you know about what we're doing. But in other words, we're working out how greedy we want to be. We'll get back to you. They came back to me, $295 per night. And this is the crappy room, and there's no other way to say it. Not that it's a bad room,
there's always
but it's
the
their
budget
low-spec
option,
room.
right?
It's
There's always the budget
It's
option.
their poverty pack room, But if you want the flash room, it was some prohibitive price, which was actually $179. Now it was like $400 and something. And I'm having a gripe about that. I'm disgusted. And I'm absolutely disgusted with the gouging going on the motorsport fans that want to come down there and event it. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to bloody come. I'll sit at home, I'll get some chips and some fizzy drinks, and I'll watch it on Sky TV, which I already pay for, and I'll just enjoy it that way. So you've just lost a customer, and you should be ashamed of yourself. I don't mind if it was a little bit dearer. 109 become 190. I'd almost say, hey, fair enough. You want to get a good return. If it was in summer instead of the almost winter, because 109 was in this year's April price, then I'd say, hey, fair enough. A summer to winter, different story.
The tourism industry,
I was
rises
disgusted,
and falls,
mate.
but that's just extreme.
I was disgusted. So I'll change that one from a grizzle about the accommodation to Ruapuna's just come out with a virtual tour of what's going to happen with the facility now.
Great.
Bearing in mind, I think they've got $10 million to play with.
Yep.
They're going to need more than that from what I saw.
We talked about how quickly they're going to burn through 10 million.
They've come up with what they're going to do with a new pit area. The old pits are going to be got rid of. They're going to move the pits, the other ones back to the set of trees, and it's going to be a nice big, and it has to be fit for purpose. They better get their skates on because tick tock. They're going to put up a new race control building because the old one's not fit for purpose. This is quite a grandiose image, so I hope that they can afford to do what they see as on the picture. They're also going to do, and I'm not sure about this one, a supporters lounge, which just sounds flash. It sounds
sounds like a GT members lounge.
It sounds like a GT members lounge.
Yeah, okay.
They're also going to have a storage facility, and they are going to reseal the track, and they're going to do a playground for the kids. So the
All of
storage
that for 10
facility,
mil.
no way in eggs.
Nah.
Not a chance.
No, so what I'm thinking here is the was it supporters lounge that they were saying is going to end up being you can be one of our supporters.
Yep.
Please give us a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
For the low price of $19.99
Per year.
whatever that works out. Yeah, per year for the rest of your life.
Yeah. But good on them for
that's a
getting the
bit of a-
track. Good on New Zealand for getting 2 rounds. But you've just lost a customer at Ruapuna Motel. I'll still watch the V8 Super. I love watching some of
However,
these races.
I will point this out. What it does mean is it means for a lot of people in the South Island who can travel to Ruapuna,
Yep.
and then you've probably got some friends the same, put a tent on their lawn because
Crash on
let's
the
face
couch,
you're going to be at the racetrack. So South Islanders, get there and support this. And people that will be travelling from out of town, like the man at the end of the thing there. Did you think how
$300 a night.
expensive the air flights would be as
Oh,
well?
yeah.
Oh, I wonder what
They would be a
Now-
massive jack system in that too.
I've worked out a way to cover that, but
really?
we'll talk about that later. I'll tell you later. But yeah, no, it's
Does it involve stuff that's not quite legal?
no, it's very legal.
Because we
No.
would never endorse things
No.
that are not quite legal. This is the Trackside Lounge, and we'll be back next time.
Next time?
Shut up.
No, sorry.